Hello, I'm Dr. Julian Northbrook from doingenglish.com. I have been studying English for 4 years, but I still can't understand native speakers in conversation. How can I improve my listening skills? Okay, this is an interesting question, and there certainly are things that we can do to improve our listening skills, certain exercises and things that we can use. Dictation is one of my favorite. But honestly, I would say that this is the wrong way to think about this. First and foremost, if you've been studying English, and I mean like actually studying English, not like what some people say is studying English, i.e. they watch TV in English occasionally, that's not study. If you've actually been putting time and effort into studying English every single day for 4 years and you are still having problems, then you are doing something completely wrong. And just continuing to do that, but doing something to improve your listening skills is very unlikely to get you the results that you want. So first and foremost, you've got to work out what is it that you are doing wrong. And I can tell you off the top of my head that 9 times out of 10, what that really comes down to is, one, you're studying the wrong thing. You're focused on vocabulary and grammar rules, which is probably not going to help you that much because that's not how native speakers speak. We speak in chunks. We pronounce language in chunks. And most of the time when people have listening problems, it's actually not a listening problem per se. It's actually more to do with the way that they've learned. And because of that, an inability to understand the chunked nature of real natural speech. So first and foremost, learning English in chunks and speaking English in chunks and paying attention to chunks and learning to hear chunks is going to be the big thing that is going to get you better listening skills more than doing specific exercises just to improve your listening skills. The other big problem that I see all the time is that you're using the wrong kind of materials. And you're basically learning stuff that isn't actually used most of the time. This, again, is also a problem when you are fundamentally, first and foremost, learning words and rules. But a lot of textbooks and a lot of materials really are honestly quite low quality. It's what I did my PhD research in, looking at the language in certain textbooks used in Japan. And the language in those textbooks is bizarre. And it's totally different to what you actually hear in the real world. So although people say, but I spent years studying English, actually technically they haven't. Or well, they have, but actually they've studied English that they're not hearing in the real world. So although yes, they have studied it, no, they haven't actually studied what they need to be able to understand people and to be able to speak themselves, because it's almost like they've studied a different language made up of English words and grammar, but that actually is not really English. So that's the second thing that you need to do, is you need to make sure that the materials that you are studying, the samples of language that you are learning and putting into your head, are of high quality. And if you do those two things, if you learn to understand the chunked way that we speak, and you're using materials that are of high quality, then that's going to take you much, much further with your listening skills than, again, doing specific exercises to develop your listening skills. The other thing that you have to take into account, and this is another big mistake that people make, is the way that you structure your routine. Everything that I do with my coaching clients is based on what I call the 2-track approach, and this is an optimal balance of hard, focused, intensive learning. This is when we sit down and study the language and aim to grow our English, and layered on top of that is much relaxed usage and exposure as you can. The problem is people mix these things together and they'll just spend a bit of time watching TV and say that's study. Oh, I'm studying. I've learned language because I watched 30 minutes of TV this week. That is not how it works. Or they will be, for example, watching TV and they're actually treating that like a study exercise, where instead of actually watching it and listening to it and enjoying it in the same way as they would their native language, they are constantly stopping, starting, pausing, writing things down, looking words up in the dictionary, and essentially training their mind to see English and to hear English as something fundamentally different to their first language. Well, all this does is create the wrong kind of habits, where when you then go into real conversation, suddenly you can't pause, you can't stop start, you can't look things up in the dictionary, and because the brain wants to do what you've trained it to do, it can't keep up. So those are the three main things that are going to really help you to improve your listening skills. Yes, we can then combine that with specific exercises, and there are quite a few that I use with my clients to build that ability faster in your intensive focus learning time. But getting those three things right is what is going to give you the fastest results. And if you don't get those three things right anyway, all the exercises and everything that we do is going to be totally useless. Now, if you want to go deeper into this and get started learning the right kind of methods, what kind of materials that you need, as well as the psychological aspect of this, you can and should do so for free if you like by heading over to doingenglish.com/free training and studying the free 1-hour training that I put together. And it's going to teach you the top 5 things that you need to know about improving in English, whether listening or anything else, as an intermediate and above English learner. Right, hope that's helpful. This is me, Dr. Julian Northbrook, signing out from another video. Speak to you soon, guys. Bye-bye.